There's a concept that always fascinates me in storytelling: retroactive continuity, or retcon. Sometimes it gets a bad rap, implying a forced change or a contradiction to what we thought we knew. But then there are moments, often through what we call lore expansion or world building, where these later additions don't just fit, they enrich the entire narrative, making it much more impactful. And this is precisely why I chose to revisit Dragon Ball Z Kakarot the way that I have. Because full transparency, like I said in the first episode, I never got past the Frieza arc on my first playthrough. I stopped exactly at this point. Sure, I knew the Bardock story, but playing through it, experiencing those meticulously crafted DLCs that led directly back into the main game, something fundamentally shifted. I felt a deeper, more personal investment in the game, almost as if these added stories finally unlocked its true emotional core. But now with all that carefully curated build-up, it's time to jump back in. And can Kakarot truly land this arc after all the new context we were given? The race to Dende has begun, but true to any good RPG and classic Dragon Ball, we're given a side quest, not just any side quest. A fast fetch quest to a very familiar, almost pure-hearted face from the Bardock DLC. Remember Frieza's Chef Malone? Now a rogue member, he needs our help gathering ingredients for a dish. It's a small little detail, but when the fruit he gives us suddenly spikes his ki, causing our team to shudder at the thought of another fight, only for Malone to casually crack open a super hard nut for juice. This guy is still good. He gave Bardock the heads up years ago, and here he is still doing good by offering our heroes a revitalizing drink. A subtle nod, a quiet continuity that reinforces the unexpected pockets of decency even within a universe ravaged by tyranny. We eventually meet up with our green friend Dende and manage to sneak past Vegeta to summon Purunga. A desperate plea reaches Gohan from the other world. Piccolo, speaking through King Kai, tells him to bring him back first, right here to Namek. But Purunga, true to the capricious nature of magical wishes, acts like a monkey paw. Piccolo is just randomly tossed onto Namek, nowhere near our heroes. Piccolo, the reincarnated Demon King, now stands on his birth planet a new man. The seeds of compassion Goku planted in him during that 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai, the ones that allowed him his redemption arc to even start, have blossomed into something profound like a Namekian Ajisa tree. He's here standing on sacred ground, ready to save the friends who changed him. But before Vegeta can even get the third wish of his coveted immortality, tragedy strikes. Grand Elder Guru, the benevolent patriarch, finally succumbs to his immense stress and despair inflicted by Frieza's invading forces. His life force winks out, and with it, the Dragon Balls turn to stone. Just then, Frieza appears, exploding with a furious rage. Having been blindsided and denied his ultimate wish, the moment brilliantly exposes one of Frieza's most glaring deficits, a recurring theme throughout his character in Kakarot. He is so consumed by his own power and status that he's utterly blindsided by it. He constantly lets smaller creatures go by, deeming them beneath him, and consistently backfires him. He wasn't thorough enough, failing to destroy every Saiyan like he intended, inadvertently allowing enough time for Goku to reach Earth and become his greatest threat. He let Vegeta live to serve him, keeping him a constant joke and a slap in his face, never anticipating the prince's own desperate will to power. And here on Namek, he massacred countless Namekians before even figuring out how to use the Dragon Balls, then inexplicably let the small Dende live, even after knowing he was flying straight towards the ship where the Dragon Balls were, despite the ominous silence from the Ginyu Force. These aren't just oversights, they're glaring flaws both from his boundless arrogance, the very traits which ultimately become his undoing.
This is a first, to be sure. No one has ever been foolish enough to make a mockery of me on such a grand scale. You worms will pay for this! I'm going to make your deaths long and painful! None of you will escape my wrath! Prepare to experience hell!
The game immediately thrusts us into the heart of conflict, skipping Frieza's first form almost entirely in the main story. This means the only time we actually truly battle his initial, almost serene form is back in that Bardock DLC, where he's chilling in a space pod, a cosmic overlord casually orchestrating genocide. Instead, the game jumps us straight into his terrifying second form, a monstrous display that instantly communicates the immense difference in power we have. This impact is brutal and immediate. Frieza impales Krillin with a horn, a gut-wrenching visual that sends our hero crashing down to the Namekian surface.
Now then, who shall I send to hell first? How about you? Krillin!
A classic Dragon Ball moment of shocking violence, a visceral reminder of Frieza's cruelty that sets the tone for the escalating horror. In response, Gohan, witnessing his friend's apparent demise, ignites a subtle but potent rage boost, finally allowing us to take on Frieza. While this form may lack truly unique combat mechanics, what it lacks in gameplay variety, it makes up for with stunning, impactful cutscenes that highlight Frieza's grotesque power and casual sadism. Meanwhile, we check back in with Piccolo, rushing towards the unfolding carnage. He soars over the desolate, destroyed villages of his home planet in a poignant visual that underscores the scale of Frieza's devastation. Then he notices a faint key signature. Nail, the last Namekian warrior laying on the ground with his dying breath, reveals a desperate, ancient Namekian secret. He tells Piccolo that despite his formidable training, he will fail against Frieza alone, but there is still hope. Namekians can absorb one another, becoming one. Piccolo's fusion with Nail and Namek marks a profound turning point in his character arc, a seismic shift in both strength and spirit, and stands in stark contrast to the being he once was as the Demon King Piccolo. And even during the 23rd Budokai, back when Piccolo was a force of pure vengeance, isolated and consumed by hunger for domination, he fought not for others but to impose his will, to finish what evil half has started. But back then, at that tournament ground, through already showing glimpses of the growth Goku's mercy had sparked, he was still cold and calculating, unwilling to see beyond himself, viewing allies as weaknesses and mercy as foolishness. Gohan, through sheer struggle and an undeniable bond they forged in the Saiyan Saga, had begun to tear that veil away from his eyes, and coming to his devastated home planet ripped it up even further. When he finally agrees to fuse with the dying Nail, he witnesses a fundamental and almost sacred transformation. He willingly sets aside his immense pride and fiercely guarded independence, embracing the radical idea that unity, not solitude, is the true path to strength. The fusion grants him an enormous, almost unimaginable power boost, enough to challenge Frieza's terrifying second form. But the deeper, more significant transformation lies in his spirit. By absorbing Nail's memories, convictions, and the collective history of the Namekian people, Piccolo inherits a profound sense of legacy and responsibility. He is no longer the destroyer who once terrorized Earth, nor the distant rival of Goku. He becomes a protector, shaped by newfound compassion, a fierce sense of purpose, and the weight of Namekian history. This act of fusion of trust, of surrendering individuality for a greater good, is something the old Piccolo would have rejected entirely.
Fine. I'll do it. Make Frieza suffer for what he did to our people. Oh, I'm planning on it. This is unreal. This power, it's unbelievably incredible. So this is what he was talking about. I'm on my way, Gohan.
Meanwhile, is taking full control of the battlefield, and it's truly being shown to us how utterly terrified Vegeta is becoming. His cold, calculating exterior, usually impenetrable, begins to crack under the immense pressure of Frieza's escalating power. It isn't until Krillin, miraculously back on his feet after being revived by Dende, returns to save Gohan that Vegeta notices something crucial. The young Namek possesses a healing ability, and now even Gohan is back up with a significant power boost. The very Saiyan biology Vegeta has been exploiting this entire trip on Namek, the Zenkai boost, where pain turns into power, can be harnessed if they have Dende. He finally sees a path, a desperate gamble to turn the tides of battle. A dramatic entrance, fitting for his newfound power. The Aura Farmer is here. The fight initially swings dramatically in Piccolo's favor, and a true testament to his fusion with Nail. But Frieza, the cruel showman, always has more forms up his sleeve. He transforms into an unsettlingly muscular third form, one of my personal favorites, a true design of Marvel for its sheer grotesque alienness. As a massive fan of horror movies, I wish this form stayed here just a little bit longer. And now we're finally starting to get unique attacks again in this one, making the combat feel fresh and dangerous. I'm insanely happy they included the mini finger beams as a special attack, a perfect detail capturing his sadism. While our heroes desperately fight Frieza in the background, a desperate Vegeta, his pride shattered, approaches Krillin. He makes an unthinkable request to almost kill him so he can exploit the Saiyan biology, recover, gain the Zenkai boost potent enough to take down Frieza. For a victory obliges, but Dende, the innocent Namekian who witnessed unimaginable horrors, refused to help Vegeta. Remembering the countless Namekian innocents the Saiyan Prince slaughtered. A powerful moment highlighting the moral lines that some, unlike Vegeta, will not cross, even in the face of overwhelming evil. Frieza begins his terrifying transformation to his final form, a being of sleek, horrifying perfection. Our heroes, desperate for any edge, manage to talk Dende into helping Vegeta. Upon awakening, Vegeta is convinced he feels a power far beyond anything he's ever experienced, stronger than any Saiyan recorded in his time. In his mind, in the moment of desperation and soaring ki, he believes he's the Super Saiyan. But Frieza, the cruelest showman in the galaxy, immediately shatters that illusion. The instant he completes his transformation, he mercilessly executes Dende. Shocking, brutal move that reinforces Frieza's absolute disregard for life. This act directly counters his earlier deficit of letting Dende live, showcasing his capacity for learning, albeit in the most sadistic way possible. The game in these moments is trying the absolute best to deliver one-for-one shots of the anime and manga now more than ever, and the subtle facial expressions and chasing silence before the next blow. Frieza himself looks absolutely amazing in this form. His model here simply cannot be any better. His iconic, terrifying design translates perfectly into Kakarot's visual style, a true testament to the source material. Vegeta, fueled by his delusion and newfound power, steps up to challenge Frieza. Their fight in Kakarot is a frantic, desperate dance, echoing the aggressive, beam-heavy style of his early fights, even reminiscent of the intense if ultimately doomed to struggle in the Bardock DLC. Albeit to a lesser extent without the asteroid-tossing, planet-shattering attacks, but the real meat is truly profound narrative impact lies not in the combat mechanics, but in the unfolding tragedy outside the flurry of the blows. Vegeta's mindset during his climatic battle with Frieza on potent, volatile desperation, delusion, and ultimately crushing realization. After being healed by Dende and driven by a lifetime of insurmountable pride, Vegeta boldly proclaims himself the legendary Super Saiyan and confronts Frieza only to have every single attack effortlessly countered. Vegeta unleashes his strong ass capable of obliterating planets, yet it's kicked aside like nothing. Humiliating, definitive dismissal.
Impossible! This can't be happening! I am a Super Saiyan! Go to hell, Frieza!
This moment is absolutely critical. It's the fulcrum of Vegeta's original character arc as Vegeta watches his ultimate offensive effort fail as the overwhelming, unyielding power of Frieza crushes his every hope. He's overcome with dread. The cracks in his indomitable Saiyan spirit, long simmering beneath a facade of arrogance, finally gave way, and he begins to cry. Raw, desperate tears at the shocking devastation and admission that he has lost the will to fight.
Overcome with hopelessness and frustration, he was reduced to tears. The mighty prince of the warrior race had lost his will to fight.
If you wish to save him, feel free to try at any time.
This scene in the gut-wrenching narrative beat it underscores serves as a profound, undeniable turning point. For the first time, Prince of Saiyans is laid bare. His pride falters, his strength proves utterly insufficient, and every single one of his emotional walls collapses. The importance of this scene lies in the immense symbolic weight. Vegeta, who had ultimately long defined himself solely by unmatched pride and absolute dominance, is rendered utterly powerless, not just physically but far more importantly mentally and spiritually, forcing him to confront his absolute limits in the most humiliating way possible. And then a new hope dawns. Goku awakens in a healing pod, a silent, determined force. Without a moment's hesitation, he rockets towards the cataclysm unfolding on Namek before him, ready to face Frieza. And once he arrives, we're treated to another spectacular scene that Kakarot absolutely nails. Goku fluidly dodged a fatal cheap shot from Frieza, a clear sign of his elevated power, and then with effortless grace sends the tyrant flying back with a single devastating blow. Vegeta, battered and broken, witnessed a profound difference in power in such a short time. Goku, in his eyes, has not just surpassed but flown past every form Frieza had up against them. He's standing toe-to-toe with the monster who tormented them all. In a moment of twisted triumph, Vegeta laughs, a hollow, bitter sound, telling Frieza he's now up against the fabled Super Saiyan. But Frieza, ever the cold executioner, responds with brutal finality, blasting Vegeta through the heart. Yet before life fully leaves him, Vegeta gathers every last ounce of strength for a final desperate plea to Goku. He begs Goku to shed his kind-hearted nature, to abandon mercy, and then in a raw, heart-wrenching confession, he reveals the full horror of what we saw. Frieza blowing up their planet. Up until that point, Vegeta had been portrayed as a proud, ruthless, and emotionally detached living embodiment of pure Saiyan arrogance. but in the agonizing moment we finally see him vulnerable, shedding tears not just for his own impending demise but the annihilation of his entire race. He pleads with Goku to avenge the Saiyans, not for revenge's sake, but to stop the monster who used and discarded them with such casual cruelty. This confession from the Princess Saiyan himself reveals that beneath Vegeta's impenetrable pride is a man deeply haunted by trauma and manipulation.
Kakarot, listen. Our home planet, Planet Vegeta, wasn't destroyed by a meteor. It was Frieza. We Saiyans were his enforcers. We followed his every order. Your parents, my father, the king, they were all murdered by that monster. I beg you, Kakarot, please defeat Frieza. Please, I beg of you. He must die by Saiyan hands.
Frieza's murder of the Saiyans was something Vegeta always knew but had buried under layers of ingrained loyalty and survival instincts. In telling Goku in this final desperate breath, Vegeta finally let go of his lifelong pride. He admits the unspeakable horror of what Frieza did and in a profound, almost sacred way, entrusts Goku with the very legacy of their people. It's powerful because it humanizes Vegeta for the very first time, reframing the entire conflict. It's no longer just about power or survival, it's about justice, about legacy, and about the crushing burden of history. Goku, despite being raised on Earth and being astoundingly distant from Saiyan culture, instantly respects the immense weight off of Vegeta's suffering and the monstrous destruction of their entire race. He doesn't fight Frieza for more vengeance, but for justice, because he now understands that Frieza represents something far worse than the overwhelming power King Kai told him about. He embodies cruelty, genocide, and a calculated manipulation. This moment marks a profound shift in Goku's role. Up until now, he's primarily been a hero, driven by a desire to protect his friends or just to test the limits of his strength. But Vegeta's dying plea places a heavier, more ancestral burden directly onto his shoulders. Goku, the low-class Saiyan, the nobody in Frieza's eyes, becomes the spiritual successor of a fallen race, not because of status, but because of his pure heart, reinforcing a core, undeniable truth about Goku. He's not inherently heroic because he yearns to be a savior, he chooses to be one when it matters most. In honoring Vegeta's final tearful wish, Goku adopts a legacy he never asked for but chooses to carry on, transforming it into something new. And suddenly Bardock's vision from so long ago is now coming back and we're going to play it out. Frieza's fight in Kakarot is fun. He genuinely feels like a brick wall that will send you flying with punishing blows. Side note, my mod inexplicably stopped working here, and honestly I'm kind of glad it did. It forced me not to be so aggressive and actually respect Frieza's power, adding a layer of desperation to my gameplay. I still don't know what happened to it, and I'm probably just going to play the rest of the game without it. Goku tries upping the Kaioken to an extreme degree, unleashing a devastating Kamehameha on Frieza.
This has been fun. It's been quite some time since I've exerted myself this much.
Man, I'm in trouble. If he's serious about the half-power thing, then even the Kaioken times 10 isn't gonna be enough. I should be able to hold my own if I push it to times 20, though. My body might not be able to handle it, but I've gotta try.
It does nothing but tick him off. There's one final desperate idea left, the Spirit Bomb. While Goku charges the immense energy, Piccolo, ever the evolving ally, leaps into action. Most games make this moment a protracted battle, and I'm genuinely glad Kakarot didn't do that. I feel like it would have completely dragged out this already monumental final part more than was needed. Piccolo's arc truly culminates here as he selfishly helps protect Goku, shielding him from Frieza's wrath. Now, I know I talk a lot about Piccolo's growth. He's not even my favorite character in the series, which is really funny, but even in these subtle moments truly drive it home when you're paying attention. Piccolo is putting complete faith into someone else's strength, something the old Piccolo, especially the vengeful Demon King Piccolo, would never have done. It powerfully shows his transformation from a lone warrior into a true selfless ally, someone who understands that survival and victory isn't always about raw power. They're about trust, cooperation, protecting what truly matters. The Spirit Bomb is unleashed, a colossal orb of borrowed energy, and Frieza is utterly engulfed. The cast gather together, the tensions momentarily broken, ready to set off and enjoy their hard-won victory until the unthinkable happens.
Mr. Piccolo! You worms. I'm going to eradicate every last one of you!
Krillin! No! Let him go, Frieza!
Goku! And now for the little brat.
Dare you! You're gonna pay for that!
What? Dad?
Gohan, take Piccolo with you and head back to Earth now! Hurry, Gohan! Before I lose what little sense of reason I have left!
Okay. What's going on? What's happened to him? No, it can't be! I think I know what's going on. My dad finally did it! He's become a Super Saiyan!
I've had enough! Now I'm mad, Frieza!
You will know your place, you filthy Saiyan!
It's a scene we all know so very well, one that resonates through generations of fans, an emotional climax of Saiyan history, of Goku's personal journey, and of legacy that began before he even landed on Earth. In that one moment, Krillin's body exploding, his death hanging in the air, the sky trembling, lightning crackling violently around him as if every single thread converges. Bardock's haunting vision of his son standing defiantly against Frieza becomes a terrifying, glorious reality. The proud warrior race Frieza tried so desperately to erase roars back to life, not through vengeance or hatred, but through pure, compassionate heart of a Saiyan raised on Earth. Goku, once mocked as a low-class nobody, now embodies the true potential of his people, not in the cold, violent legacy of the past, but a new path forward born from unimaginable compassion, profound pain, and a relentless growth. His transformation is grief, love, and destiny colliding in a singular, cataclysmic explosion. The ghost of Bardock, the silent cries of fallen Saiyans, and the unshakable soul of a boy who only ever wanted to protect his friends. In that instant, the myth becomes flesh. The last hope of a shattered race become their future, not by carrying their hatred, but by truly rising above it. A moment this beautiful, this planet-shakingly powerful, deserves a beautiful cutscene that's been given to us countless times over the years. We've seen this scene redone in game after game, but not once did they truly handle how viscerally powerful it was. Until now. Goku's muscles tense, the ground trembles with earthquakes, the world itself seems to buckle under the strain, and just like that, the Saiyan of legend, the Super Saiyan, is born. The battle starts. Now we truly dominate in power. Goku feels like the brick house now. Nothing hurts him at all. Frieza lands blows, but I barely lose any health. The gameplay also ramps up for how damn annoying Frieza is, but it's precisely because of how desperate he's become. He's doing everything he can, thrashing blindly. It's a nice, subtle change in the AI behavior that perfectly reflects his spiraling fear, and I'm so glad it was chosen.
You can destroy entire planets, but you can't take down one single person?
What are you?
You mean you haven't figured it out yet? I'm the Saiyan who's come all the way from Earth to defeat you! I am the warrior you've heard of in legends. I am pure of heart and awakened by fury, that's what I am. I am the Super Saiyan, Son Goku!
Goku, now the Super Saiyan, fully embraces his Saiyan heritage, not as a tool of violence or vengeance, but he bridges the gap between two worlds, the formidable blood of a race built on conquest and the pure heart of a man raised on compassion. By claiming to be the Saiyan from Earth, Goku fundamentally redefines what that title means. He isn't a brutal warrior Frieza feared, nor the pride-driven prince Vegeta once was. He's entirely something new. A Saiyan shaped by empathy, by devastating loss, and ultimately by conscious choice. Frieza, who destroyed the Saiyans to prevent rebellion, now faces the very thing he tried to erase, not just a Super Saiyan, but a man who fights for peace, not merely power. Frieza, now utterly terrified of what stands before him, finally realizes the fundamental faults we've been talking about and how his arrogance and blindness continually caused his own downfall. In a final desperate act, he tries to blow up Namek, but even in the end, his boundless arrogance still holds him back. Because of this, the Earth's Dragon Balls are used to bring back the Namekians and Purunga, now sends everyone on the planet except for Goku and Frieza to Earth, leaving Goku to finish off the monster in his 100% power form. We get a final thrilling fight with Frieza, complete with a great in-game cutscene. He has a few new frantic moves, nothing too wild, but still a very enjoyable match. Goku prepares to leave, offering Frieza a chance, but Frieza, consumed by pride, throws out a Destructo Disc-like move that ultimately chops himself in half, again reinforcing that he truly is his own worst enemy.
Not going to fall for it!
Watch out! Get down! Get down!
How can this be?
Goku's decision to spare Frieza on this dying planet Namek is one of the most powerful character moments in Dragon Ball, and it speaks volumes about both Goku and Frieza, not just as combatants, but as fundamentally different beings. From the moment Goku tells Frieza that the match is over to the final blast that ends their battle, we witness a deep exploration of mercy, pride, and tragic consequence of refusing to change. When Goku turns his back and offers Frieza energy to survive, he's doing something profoundly rare for a warrior in the middle of a life or death struggle. He's choosing compassion over domination. Despite everything Frieza has done, genocide, torture, the murder of Goku's best friend, and the destruction of this planet, Goku still gives him a chance to live. This isn't naivety, it's a deliberate, almost divine act of mercy from someone who has truly ascended the Saiyan instinct for revenge. For Goku, the battle is already won. Frieza's been broken, humiliated, and stripped of his power. To continue would fill with cruelty, a descent into the very malice he despises, and more importantly, to kill someone who can't fight back would make Goku no better than the monster he just defeated. But what makes this moment so enduringly important is what happens next. Frieza rejects that mercy, consumed by insurmountable pathological pride and utterly unable to accept defeat. He uses the last flicker of the energy that Goku gave him to launch one final cowardly attack, and in the instant, this character contrast is made undeniable, etched forever into the bedrock of Dragon Ball.
Please, have mercy. Please, have mercy. I beg you.
How can you beg for mercy? How many people begged you for mercy before you slaughtered them? How many?
I beg you.
I've given you just a little bit of my energy. That's all you get. You're on your own.
I am the greatest being in the universe, and that is why you must die by my hand!
You fool!
What?
Goku represents growth, humility, and hope here, while Frieza remains stagnant, bitter, and tragically self-destructive. It's a devastating reflection of how some beings, even when shown grace, will tragically choose their own destruction rather than face their failures. When Goku retaliates with a final, decisive blast, it's not an act of vengeance, it's a moment of profound, regretful necessity. You see it in his face and his tone, feel the sorrow in his actions. He gave Frieza every chance to walk away, to survive, to evolve, but Frieza chose hatred, and Goku with a heavy heart delivers the inevitable consequence. This moment cements their opposing ideologies for all time. Goku fights to protect and grow, Frieza fights only to dominate and destroy. Goku's mercy wasn't weakness, it was his greatest strength, and it made Frieza's ultimate downfall all the more poetic. In sparing his enemy, Goku proved he was greater than just a fighter. He was a man who had learned from the pain and refused to let anger shape his past. And throwing that gift away, Frieza sealed the fate of a tyrant too proud to change. Planet Namek is destroyed, a cosmic funeral pyre for a brutal saga. Our heroes, thanks to the Namekian Dragon Ball, successfully wish everyone back to life while waiting for Goku to return back to Earth from the now obliterated planet. This was a truly beautiful rendition of the Namek Saga. I couldn't have been more ecstatic to get through it and witness Kakarot's take on such a classical, pivotal arc in anime history. The development team clearly poured their love into what they did here, and it absolutely shines through every cinematic moment. While I do think the first half felt a bit drawn out at times, and there were a few fights that seemed unnecessary, overall, it was an incredibly enjoyable experience and arguably the best a video game has ever retold this arc. I'm truly glad I started this game chronologically. It genuinely made the time I had with it much more enjoyable and impactful. Next time, we're experiencing a significant time skip and catching up with our heroes 13 years in the future to see what challenges await them. Oh, that's not good.